Hey YouTube, what's up? Alex from TeamRapidKarma here, coming at you with my updated Dragunity deck profile. I didn't release the deck profile right after the ban list because I was waiting for Clash of Rebellions to drop, because there were two cards I was really looking forward to putting in. And yeah, and I've changed up the deck quite a bit, and I'll explain some choices as we go along. Alright, so let's get right into it. Okay, I've been watching both Mist Valley Master and PhoenixFlareX, and looking at their opinions on the deck, and I've come up with my own kind of hybrid between the two builds, but I've thrown in a little variation of my own. And yeah, anyway, let's get right into it. So first off, we got the standard triple Mistletoe, the standard triple Ducks, and triple Phalanx. Yeah, those are the only main tuners that I play. I don't play Brandy stock. I cut that because the OTK never goes off, because they'll either have Valk or they'll have like some sort of hand trap to stop your play in the beginning, and it forces you to run cards of consonants, which I really do not like as a card. And yeah, then for the only other Dragunity I play the One Leviathan. The One Leviathan is just for the Felgrand play and easy Leos. It's also a recurring beat stick, which I really like, because the biggest problem with this deck is the grind game. Like, Clifforts can Pendulum 5 every turn in the grind game. Necros can Jar of Avarice and have all their resources back. Shadals will have 3 Falcos that you have to fight through. And Burning Abyss just floats their way through everything, and yeah, the grind game is just a really hard problem. Or is the biggest problem with this deck. And yeah, this kind of helps. But mainly it's for the Felgrand combo and easy Leos. Anyway, then for the Gaydurg targets, I play the 2 Garuda. It's really standard. I cut it down to 1 in the turbo version of the deck, where I played like 3 Into the Void, 3 Chicken Race, 3 basically just a bunch of draw cards. But that build was really, really inconsistent and really prone to bricking, and it could easily be stopped by a hand trap, and I really don't like that. Anyway, but I still played the 2 Garuda just to make sure your combos go off, and at worst case scenario, like if you don't open up one of your 3 Mistletoes, at least you got Garudas to help keep your combos off. Instead of doing the Mistletoe and Gaydurg combos, you do Vajrayana with Gaydurg, and it does essentially the same thing, except it wastes a Vajrayana. Anyway, then we got the 1 Zephyros, staple. You need it for all of your combos. Like, it's probably like the best card in the deck, let's be honest. And then the 1 Darkness Metal. Yeah, it's all pretty standard. It's just a concise 14 monster lineup. And yeah, so let's get into the spells. For the spells, I play a somewhat low spell count for a lot of Dragunity decks, because I really didn't like the turbo version. The turbo version lost a lot to just hand traps or a single trap, or yeah, it was slightly consistent, but it was really prone to bricking, unlike this build. Anyway, yeah, so let's get into the spells. So first off, we got the triple Divine Lance. I still play this card at 3. Even if Ravine goes to 3, I will still play 3 of this, because Ravine's main use is getting you into Ducks. And this card makes it easier to get Phalanx on board. You don't have to go -1 off of a Ravine just to dump a Phalanx, which is not optimal at all. I mean, and the searching out a Ducks off a Ravine is literally like the only effective Ravine that doesn't result in a -1. And that's really important. You want to maintain at least some card advantage over your opponent. And this card just, it's also an out to window. It's not that important, because there's not that many Shadals in my locals. There's like 2 Shadal players, one of them are my best friend. And yeah. Anyway, so let's get, see, for the rest of them, we got the 2 Dragon Ravine. It's at 2 now, yay. It should have gone to 3. There's no reason for this card to still be at 2. Yeah, this card should have gone to 3. And then, for the new additions, we got the triple Chicken Race, or Chicken Game. I'm never going to call it that, because that's a retarded name. The Chicken Game, it's a searchable upstart goblin that you don't have to give your opponent life points for. I'd rather pay 1,000 than give them 1,000, because at the heart of this deck, it's an OTK deck. Like, that's what this deck is meant to be. You either combo off and just have, like, making an unbreakable board, or you OTK them. And this card helps maintain the OTK. And at worst case scenario, your opponent doesn't get the effective chicken game because you can just activate a ravine right over it. And yeah, it's just so nice. And it's also a nice MST target. Like sometimes they'll be forced to MST this rather than your ravine, which is really nice. And yeah, then we got the triple terraforming. Freaking supers are $10 right now for no reason. Anyway, terraforming, yeah, standard. It searches out your ravine, searches out your chicken game. Yeah, then for the rest of the spells, we just got a bunch of one-ofs. One Foolish, it dumps Phalanx, in case you didn't draw the Divine Lance. The one Soul Charge helps in the grind game, and lets you set up, again, massive boards. And then the one Raigeki still. We don't have to worry about the Genlock anymore, so I don't have to run Dark Hole or Book of Moon or any crap like that. And yeah, so I only run spells that actually do things for the deck. Like, Cards of Consonance I really don't like as a card, because sometimes it will force you to search off a Phalanx just to make it live off the ravine, which isn't that good. And but a lot of the time you just discard the Cards of Consonance if it's dead off the ravine to grab a Dux or whatever. And that's just not optimal. It's a card that promotes dead hands. Like, it's a card that's only useful if you have other cards in your hand. And I try to play as few cards that are reliant on other cards as possible. Like, Dragon Ravine isn't exclusive. It just says discard any card. Or the cards that are essential to the combos. And Dragon Ravine, or Cards of Consonance, while it is nice to have the extra draw power, it's not necessary, and it only promotes brick hands. Yeah. Anyway, so then let's get on to the traps. I play an extremely heavy trap build. I'll explain my reason for that later. Anyway, first off, we got the 2 Call of the Haunteds. It helps you in the grind game, which is the biggest problem I have against my local meta, which is filled with a Towers Turbo, a few Necros, and like 2 Shaddoll players. There's very little Burning Abyss there, very few Shaddolls, very few Ritual Beasts. It's all Towers Turbo. Like, we got, out of like 35 players, a good half of them are playing Towers Turbo, and this card helps against the grind game against that deck. And yes, you gotta play this. It also makes Leviathan live later in the game, and sometimes helps you extend out your combos, or if they kill your third Dux. You don't want to run Jar of Avarice or Digesto Emerald, because Digesto Emerald is way too hard to make without main decking triple Garuda and crap like that. And Jar of Avarice is really dead early game, while this can be made live early game, or sometimes help you push for OTKs. If you don't have enough damage in, you can call for an extra monster and attack for game. It's just so nice. And then you got 2 Storming Mirror Force. Once again, this card is amazing against Burning Abyss and Shaddolls, but terrible against Klee and Necros. And it's okay against Ritual Beasts unless they're attacking with Ulti Apelio. And yeah, but this card, your hardest matchup by far out of every meta deck is Shaddolls, because Winda and Construct. Like, those cards are just so hard to get over, especially with extra deck reliant decks. Yeah, so you just play the Storming Mirror Force to kick their shit in and just get rid of their fusions without getting the effects off, or bounce back the Dantes, and then if they've already used most of their Burning Abyss effects that turn, so you just win if you resolve that card against them. And it's an easy side out against Necros and Klee. Anyway, and then we got the 2 Fiendish Chain. This is part of my effect negation. I do play 2 more Breakthrough Skill, or 2 Breakthrough Skill along with this, just because effect negation is kind of a pain, and you want to like out Windows and out Constructs and things like that, and especially you need to out cards like Trishula and Brio. And I don't play Valor anymore because that card is a neg-1. Like, sure, it's nice when you're going first, but you don't need to out a Lavalval Chain anymore to stop their Genlock, because the Genlock doesn't exist anymore. The only things you need to stop, like the biggest threats, are on your opponent's turn, and you don't want to go minus. Like, the only reason I still play Breakthrough Skill is because it can be used twice, and it's probably like the best effect negation in the game right now. And yeah, so we got the 2 Breakthrough Skill as well. It's good for outing Winda. It's also, having these 4 cards against Satellar Knights is just absolutely ungodly good. And it just really helps. Because if you can set up a massive board, then out their first summon, unless they're playing Skybridge or some janky card like Lance, or they have the one of Book of Moon, they're not going to get their effect off, and they're not going to be able to trigger you, which is amazing. And yeah, so then, the one bottomless, I only play this card because Towers Turbo is just so incredibly common at my locals. Like, you just need to be able to out the 5 pendulum summons. You can switch this out for a torrential if you would like, if, it just depends on your locals. And, the One Ring of Destruction, it's also amazing against Klee, because it helps you push for that extra damage. The One Warning, because once again, it outs towers. It stops Denko, stuff like that. And then the One Emptiness, because emptiness. So yeah, 12 traps. I prefer this over the turbo build, because it really lacks any sort of defense without playing triple Maxi and triple Valor. And yeah. Anyway, so then let's get into the extra deck. So first off, I play the 1 Gay Bulge because it is an out to towers if you banish it. All you have to do is have like the standard Ducks Phalanx. And you just banish the Ducks after you sink, and then suicide into towers. And then hopefully you can just establish a board and be able to... And it's just so hard to get over the second towers, so if they drop a second towers, you're going to lose no matter what. So what you got to do is just destroy their scout, crash over the towers, and then you win. Like, it's so simple. And yeah, that's the only reason why I play this. Otherwise, I'd cut it for Queen Dragon Jin. And then the standard triple Vajrayana, it's a staple. And the 1 Gay Durg, also a staple. And for the level 8s, we play the 1 Crimson Blader because Necros and because Shadal's. The 1 Scrap Dragon for Destruction. I took out Hot Red Dragon Archfiend because I really didn't find much. I was going into that much. I usually find myself either making combos instead or dropping Vajrayanas and pushing for damage. I really didn't see any reason to keep in Hot Red. This card did all the destruction you ever needed. And the 1 Stardust Spark Dragon, because once again, it's like the best first turn card to make. If you only have the standard Ducks Phalanx combo, it's best to just drop this over Stardust, because you can protect your Ravine, you can protect your Emptiness, it's just so good. And then the 1 Stardust, because it's Dragunities. And then for level 10s, just the 1 Leo. I realized that I am playing Levatin and technically then, and Call the Haunted and Soul Charges. I really should be playing Trident Dragon or a second Leo. I never find myself needing it. Like, this card's good enough. And if they get over it, then they're probably going to win that turn anyway. Anyway, then for the rank 6s, we got the 1 M7, it's staple, 2 Attunes, just for the Felgrand combo, which is amazing. The 1 Gaia Charger, you can take this card out for like anything you want, but I like it for when you end up with the standard Felgrand combo. You can Xyz this over the Attune that you had, and you can still attack for game. And it would be an exact, or like 200 over an OTK, which is kind of nice. It enables the Felgrand combo to become an OTK. And then the 1 Felgrand, because it's ungodly good. Yeah, then for the side deck, because Klee is so massive and so prevalent at my locals, I play 2 Firehand and 2 Ice Hand. It's also good against Rogue, so yeah, you gotta play him. Triple Galaxy Cyclone. I like this card better than MST because it can be used twice, and you can get the effect off of... You can still use its second effect if you discard it off Ravine. I don't like having to discard cards that I need for Ravine to resolve them. Like this, you can still discard this and like pop a lose 1 turn, pop a Scout, pop an Emptiness, things like that. It's a lot less painful to discard. And MST, I play enough traps just to be able to fend off the opponent, so that way you don't really need MST's game 1, because the best deck by far right now is Necros still, and I'm pretty sure everyone in the player base would agree with me. And the only really trap heavy decks right now are Ritual Beasts and Satellars, and those aren't really that prevalent at my locals. And so yeah, this card's okay against Klee. Usually they side in the 3 lose 1 turns and the Emptiness and the Skill Drain, and yeah, this just helps you out those. So you don't need them until game 2. And then play for the traps the third Storming Mirror Force, once again for Burning Abyss and shit-alls. You gotta play it. And then for the rest of the side deck, we got the 2 Imperial Iron Walls. This card's amazing against Ritual Beasts, Infernoids, and Necros, so you gotta play both. Yeah, just 2, that's all you need. I like it over Lancia because it's a floodgate. And then the 2 Mind Crush, which is pretty staple. Mind Crush just comes in clutch. Even against Klee, when they search the towers, you can just go and dump it and don't have to worry about it. And for the rest of the side deck, we just play the standard Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. Shadow Imprisoning, it's just, once again, for Burning Abyss and shit-alls. Mainly shit-alls, and yeah. Anyway guys, that's the deck profile. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, TeamRapidKarma out.